Today, we are going to talk about Bitcoin, and I'm going to focus on the Tether dominance chart because it's doing something very bullish that it has not done since July of last year, right before Bitcoin went on a 60% rally. So we'll talk through all the details in today's video. I'll show you whether or not that's likely to occur again, what the Tether dominance chart has to do for that to occur, and also what Bitcoin has to do to get above resistance and move higher. Now, if you guys do enjoy this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon to get notifications because I am releasing these videos every single weekday in addition to those weekly forecasts on Saturday. And lastly, none of the content in this video or any video is financial advice because it is just my opinion. So with that said, let's take a look at the Bitcoin daily time frame. So for the most part, 2022 can be summed up by sideways price action. So the year started back here, the market dropped below 46,000. And ever since that time, this area has been resistance. Now, on the downside here, we have the $35,000 area as support, which we've talked about in the past. I was discussing this level ever since back here and saying that was kind of the must hold level because that is the bear market high trend line. All right, so this was the high from the bear market. You can see it connects with these lows here in June and July during that bottom and also currently. Okay, so the market has not closed below this trend line. And to me, this is really the level that's keeping the market afloat right now. So, very sideways price action though for Bitcoin. It would have to get above this area around 46,000 to really turn bullish. That is the highest conviction play here, in my opinion. So no clear breakout here from Bitcoin. However, the Tether dominance chart, as I said, is doing something that is very bullish, at least so far today. We're going to see how the day closes, but so far it's doing something very bullish. Before we get to that though, I do want to take a look at the relationship between the two. All right, so here in blue, we have Bitcoin. And down here, we have the Tether dominance chart. Now, keep in mind that this is not the price of Tether, okay? Because Tether is a stable coin that runs on the Ethereum blockchain and it roughly tracks the price of the US dollar. So it's always roughly $1. So this is not the price of Tether, it's the Tether dominance, meaning how dominant is this stable coin within the entire crypto market. So what happens here is when Tether dominance moves lower, this is an indication that people are withdrawing their money from the stablecoin and deploying it into the crypto market. They're buying Bitcoin, they're buying Ethereum, etc. And when you see the dominance move higher like this, all right, it's a sign that people are pulling their money out of the crypto market. They're pulling it out of Bitcoin, moving it back to the Tether stablecoin for safety. So that's why you have this inverse correlation here. All right, so Tether dominance moves higher, we see Bitcoin pull back and vice versa. So now that we're aware of the inverse correlation and why there's an inverse correlation, let's take a look at the Tether dominance chart. All right, so this is the daily time frame. And you can see that ever since November of last year, and by the way, this is when Bitcoin topped out. So for those of you that will remember, Bitcoin topped out right around $70,000. And of course, we saw the Tether dominance chart down here put in a low. So ever since this time though, the market has been moving within or above this ascending trend line. Now, it did look like we had a breakdown here over the weekend. However, the market did close right on that trend line. We got a slight bounce here early this week. And so far today, this is the first sign of material weakness from the Tether dominance chart. Now, you guys know the drill. It looks good so far, okay, because remember, this is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. So we do want to see it break down and move lower so that Bitcoin can move higher. But you guys know the drill. It's going to take a daily close below this level, especially one this significant, to really confirm the breakdown. So even though the price action today looks pretty good, I would like to see a daily close below this level to confirm the breakdown. And ideally, I want to see it close below these lows back here. All right, I want to see it close down here in this area to really confirm that breakdown and show that weakness. And if it does that, I do think that there is a very good chance over the coming weeks that we could see a move down here toward this 2019 trend line. All right, so this is the same trend line that triggered the low back here for Tether dominance. And again, this right here is when Bitcoin topped out last November. So if you were paying attention to this trend line, you would have known, or at least had a good idea, that Tether dominance was likely to start increasing down here toward this support area, in which case Bitcoin was likely to top out, which it did. All right, so if we do get that breakdown, that confirmed breakdown, there's a good chance we see another trend down here toward this trend line, just like we've had 2 times before. And if that occurs, that could be a very substantial move for the crypto market. We could see Bitcoin rally up toward, past 53,000, potentially up towards $60,000, even above that. if the Tether dominance chart does repeat what it's done before. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened last July, because the setup here is very similar to what we saw back then. Okay, so again, we know that Tether dominance is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. All right, so when we look back here at this consolidation for BTC, because remember that back here in May, when we saw Tether dominance do this, this is when Bitcoin was selling off. And this right here was really the period of consolidation for Bitcoin. Okay. Now this market, okay, broke down here on July 23rd. So that was the first daily close below this trend line. Pretty similar to what we're seeing so far today, although we don't have that daily close just yet. In about 8 hours, we will. So July 23rd was the first daily close below this trend line. So this was showing weakness from the Tether dominance chart, aka bullishness in the crypto market for Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. So realistically, looking back here, what I would have said if we were looking at this chart is that this area right through here, okay, you can see that we have a lot of lows here. We have highs through this area. So I would have said that this was a likely spot where the Tether dominance chart was likely to bounce. All right. And you can see that we did get a slight bounce. It did go lower, but we did get a bounce here on this candle, which happens to be August 23rd. All right. So really from the breakdown point back here on July 23rd to August 23rd, we had about a month of a downtrend from the Tether dominance chart. Now let's put some context behind that and take a look at what Bitcoin did during that time. All right. So if we move back here to this consolidation, and by the way, this consolidation right now looks very similar to what we saw back here. All right. It's not exact, not an exact replica, but it is very similar. We have Bitcoins consolidating above macro support for several months, just like we have right now. All right. So let's look and see what happened between July 23rd and August 23rd of last year. All right. So here we had, again, Bitcoin going sideways during this consolidation. And this candle right here is August 23rd. Now, or I'm sorry, July 23rd. August 23rd is up here on this candle. All right, so you basically had from this candle down here up toward this candle. That coincides with the Tether dominance chart we just looked at. Remember, this breakdown here with the low down here at support. Okay, so this move for Bitcoin was substantial. Anybody who caught this move, of course it wasn't at the exact bottom and the exact top up here, but anybody who caught this move would not be complaining because it was a little over 50% and about $17,000. So a very substantial move for BTC. And once again, too, notice that we didn't have a clear signal from Bitcoin because at the time on this candle on July 23rd, the market was still just very sideways. In fact, it was at the lower portion of this consolidation. Now, of course, there was a trend line off of these highs here that you could have played, but ultimately the market was still very, very sideways. So looking to the current price action, right? We have a breakdown, a potential breakdown from Tether dominance. We also have Bitcoin going sideways, very similar to last year. It hasn't broken out from resistance yet, and it's still within this sideways consolidation as the Tether dominance chart is starting to break lower. Okay, so here's the thing. If we do see this market close below this trend line today, then I'm going to be looking for follow through. Okay, I want to see weakness here develop, get at least 2 daily closes below this area down here to really show that follow through, and also take out that March low to put in that lower low. Okay, because so far we've seen this market put in higher lows, higher highs. Although this one back here, really you could almost argue this was a double top, but the market has put in higher lows here this entire time. So this breakdown is good to see, but we want to see that follow through. We want to see the market take out that low from March and put in that first lower low. But like I said, if that does happen and we get that move, okay, down here toward this 2019 trend line, then I do think that is going to equal a very substantial move for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. If we see a move down here toward the 2019 trend line, $50,000, $60,000 Bitcoin is certainly not out of the question. So I still think that Bitcoin needs to get above 46. I think this is great to see. I think this is one indication, a very clear indication that we are starting to see some of the big players in the crypto market say, you know what, I have confidence that we could be near a bottom or at a bottom, and I'm ready to redeploy my capital into the crypto market. But again, the highest conviction play here, in my opinion, is going to be that daily close above 46. All right, so this area back here, Bitcoin has to get above this area on a daily closing basis to really open up $53,000 and $60,000. That's the highest conviction play, but the early bullish sign, okay, is being shown right now by the Tether dominance chart. We'll see where this closes today. If it does close below this trend line, all right, then I do think we have a confirmed breakdown. I would like to see another day close below it, of course, because 2 days of a break is always a little bit more confirming than just having one. But I do think that we are getting there, guys. I think that the signs are there to where we could be, seeing a bottom here for the crypto market, especially if Bitcoin gets above 46. But right now, Tether dominance is telling us that it could be time to deploy some of that capital back into the crypto market. Obviously that's not financial advice, that's just my opinion. And really it's just what the Tether dominance chart is telling us so far today. So if you guys did enjoy this content, I would really appreciate you guys to smash that like button. I don't ask for payment for these videos, but if you could pay in the form of a like, I would really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow.